I'm so hungry. Will you make me some food? Excuse me? I am. Don't you see I'm starving over here? You're acting quite jerky right now. Maybe we should make her some. Hey guys, it's Junie the Orange Huntress here, and welcome back to my channel where we bring the hunt home and the wild inside. Today I'm going to show you how to make venison jerky in 3 different flavors. I'm going to walk you through the process from start to finish and everything in between so that you will have success when you're making venison jerky. Give a big thumbs up if you are so pumped about this video, or you love venison, or if you love jerky, because we are going to have so much fun together. Let's head to the kitchen. First things first, cleanup time. Give your meat a quick rinse in some cold water to get off any fur or blood that might be on your meat. Once that's done, trim off any excess fat or silver skin that you might find on your roast. If you want some tips on how to trim your meat well without losing a lot of it, then you should click the link above and watch my venison grinding video, because I talk about a cool little strategy on how to do that. Cut your meat against the grain about 1/8 of an inch thick, and I'll show you how to do that on my Cabela's 8.7 inch slicer that we have here. I set it to number 8, which gave me that perfect size that you just saw. This is the first time that I've ever made jerky, and it turned out really great, but I did learn a really good tip that I will share with you at the end of the video. But I loved working with this slicer. It was so much fun and took me back to when I worked in the restaurant for a little while and got to slice cheese. Be sure that your roast is secure in your slicer. If it's a little bit long, you might want to cut it, but mine has these cool teeth, so it was able to hold it. To get a really clean slice so your meat doesn't wibble and wobble, you should really freeze your venison for an hour. But why, Junie? Why only 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch thick? Well, let me tell you, if your venison is too thick when you put it in the dehydrator, 1, it will take forever for it to get dehydrated. I did venison liver for my dog, and we sliced it too thick, and it was like days. It dehydrated for days. I do not want you to have to go through that. I think that one might be Ruby food. Ruby! Sit! Good girl. Ready? 1, 2, 3. No. She's so happy. Yeah, you're happy. Good girl. Any pieces of venison that were too wide, I cut in half so that when they were brined, they would brine evenly, and when I put them on the dehydrator, they would dehydrate at the same speed as everything else. Brine number 1, which is seen here, was mine and my kid's favorite. It actually had a little bit of a sweetness because of the brown sugar in it, and it wasn't as spicy as the other 2. For brine number 2, you're gonna need a mortar and pestle, or a cup and a baggie, or even your coffee grinder to get that fennel seed broken up. It has a bit more bite than the other 2. Honestly, I love the smell of the fennel seeds. I thought it was going to be more sweet, but it is definitely spicy. This 3rd brine surprised me because it takes a whole bottle of Worcestershire sauce. It is insane, but it is so good and full of flavor. Now that I've got everything ready, it's time to brine. Holla! Oh yeah! I started throwing all my venison in, divided it into my 3 bags, and began to really saturate that meat with all that beautiful brine. I laid it all flat after I mixed it all together and put it in my fridge for over 24 hours. They recommend 24, but I just couldn't do it in the morning the next day, so I waited a little bit longer, which was perfectly fine. I laid out some tea towels or dish towels, whatever you call them where you're from, and laid out my venison on that. I patted everything nice and dry to remove the liquid so that it would dry out faster and easier. And I also ran my finger down each piece before I set it on that tea towel. That way I was getting off like any garlic or any of those bigger herbs, different things like that, as much as I could anyway. I left a space in between each piece of venison when I put it on the tray to dehydrate so that it dehydrates evenly and it's not having to work through a wall of meat to get all that moisture out. This venison ended up dehydrating for about 8 hours. It said that it would be anywhere between 4 and 5. Some recipes even said 2, but that's just the way that it was for me. One of the reasons why I think my jerky took so long was because I set my dehydrator at 130 degrees to start with. Not a setting for jerky. You should really set it between 145 and 160 for your jerky. So you ready for the game-changing jerky tip? So I did a bit of a foobar with my jerky, and maybe you should not. I left my jerky in the dehydrator after I shut the heat off for probably 3 hours. If you don't want your jerky like this, then don't do what I did. I'll show you. So here's my jerky. This is number 1, this is number 2, and this is number 3. So if you see my jerky, it's great for size, but it's very brittle. So if you don't want your jerky to be that brittle, then once you're done cooking it, take it out of your dehydrator. Okay, good call? Yeah, I think so. All right, guys, we made it through our venison jerky journey. I really hope that you learned some cool stuff today and that you're able to try out 1 or 2 or 3 of those different brine recipes. I think that you're gonna love them all. So have so much fun making jerky. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you wanna see more content like this, then subscribe, and I'll catch you next Wednesday. Okay, so taste test number 1, guys. What do you think?
It tastes like the jerky we had roast.
What? What was that?
It's so spicy. It's so tough. It's a spicy person. It's spicy. I'm biting my tongue to get the spice off. That's what I do. It's not spicy.